Chester. Hello and welcome. It's a lovely summer day. We've got the chickens calling from the neighbor's yard, the other neighbors pounding on something with a hammer, and we've got trucks going backwards and beeping. So it could be a lively session today, so welcome. We don't have any particular plan or scope that we're going to do today. We're just going to move, have some fun, do a little work. Let's start in a standing position. Let's start with the feet, and bring your feet till they're about hip width apart. And from this position, find 3 points on each foot. Base of the big toe, the base of the pinky, and the center of your heel. And let's see if we can balance the weight on all 3 points. And once we have a little bit of balance there, let's just bring our attention to the breath, and we'll focus on the breath. As you exhale, focus on relaxing. Exhale, relax. And let's start our movement a little bit. What I'd like you to do is to lift the heels a tiny, tiny little bit off the floor. And just notice what happens to your balance. So heels are lifted tiny, tiny bit. You can touch the mat if you wish, but no weight on your heels. And then bring your weight back onto the heels so that you're balancing on all those 3 points on the foot. Base of the big toe, base of the pinky, center of the heel. A nice even balance on all 3 points. And then let's lift the base of the big toe so that the inside edges of your foot lift. And then come back to a balanced position. And then lift the outside edges and back to a balanced position. So here's the breath work. Inhale as you lift the inside edge. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, lift the outside edge. Exhale to center. Inhale, lift the inside edge. Exhale to center. There we go. Nice and smooth. Nice and slow. And now let's lift the heels and continue that movement, if you can, between weighting the big toe and weighting the pinky. Try and keep the weight off the heels if you can. This is a pretty difficult movement to make, especially lifting the outer edge of the heel, of the foot. If you can unweight the outer edge, that's doing well. The inner edge is easier to unweight because we're accustomed to bringing our weight to the outer edge of the foot. One more. And release. There we go. Feet should be woken up at this point. Okay, let's begin. What I'd like to do is start in a standing position, and we're going to start by sticking our butt out. So from a standing position with a slight bend in the knees, I'd like you to stick your butt back. So this is what it looks like from a side view. Just stick your butt back and notice what happens to the back. Notice that you get a nice long curvature in the back. Stick the butt out so the butt goes this way, back curves nice and long. If you'd like a little more feedback on that, you can stand next to a wall, as I'm going to do here. Put your feet so that your heels are a little bit away from the wall, a couple inches, and then push your butt back into the wall and notice what happens to your back. You get that nice long curved back again. Now, do this very gently, because if you're going to push on that wall hard, you can overdo it, and you can certainly pull some muscles from pushing too hard. So do this nice and gentle. Push your butt against that wall and notice the curvature in the back. So inhale and push. Exhale and release. Inhale, push your butt back. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. This is what it looks like from the side. Inhale, push your butt back. Exhale. Let's do a few more. Notice the curvature in the back. We're going to come back to that nice long back here in a moment. Notice the feeling of the lower back muscles in the lumbar area engaged strongly. And then go ahead and release. So we're going to look at an alternate way to engage those same muscles, and then we're going to combine the two. So another way to do this is simply to lift the arms. With a little bit of a knee bend, lift the arms forward and up. And notice that you get that same long, curved spine. So inhale as you lift. Exhale, come down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. Next time, I'd like you to lift the arms and hold them there for a second and just take a moment or two to notice that long back and release. So that long back is something that recurs in lots and lots of different movements within yoga. And we're going to combine the lift in the arms, that long back, along with sticking the butt out, and combine the two. And this is what it looks like. Stick the butt out, lift, inhale, lift, exhale, come down. Inhale, lift, exhale, come down. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. Let's do one more. And release. So that long back is something that recurs in a lot of different yoga movements. And this next one is one where it certainly comes to play. And what we're going to do is a forward flexion. So with that long back, notice if you lift your hands or stick your butt out and bring your hands down. Some people find that bringing their hands behind their back or rotating their arms back like this gives them that same sort of long back. So from that long back position, we're going to hinge right here at the hip joints. So just hinge here at the hip joints and come forward. And up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. And you can change the amount of flexion. So you may want to do some shallow ones like this. And then come much deeper on a couple of forward flexions. So do a little experimenting with how deep you come in the forward flexion. Exhale down. Inhale up. And if you'd like a little more spice in your life, what you can do is lift one heel slightly off the ground. So I'm going to lift my right heel a little bit. Exhale down. Inhale up. Put the right heel down. Lift the left. Exhale down. Inhale up. So each time you're up, switch the heels. Notice if you have a different sensation in the leg comparing the right and the left. Do they feel the same or do they feel different? Let's do one more. And release. All right. What we're going to do is add a little bit of a twist to the hips and to the legs, the upper thighs. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a forward flexion. So we'll do that same forward flexion, But then what we'll do is we'll swing to one side. So here's how it's going to look. I'm going to lift my right heel. So the right heel is lifted. I'm going to flex forward. I'm going to swing, keeping my torso long, swing to the left. So that's my planted foot. And I'm going to swing to the right, which is my lifted foot. And then keeping my torso to the right, I'm going to come up. Put the right foot down, lift the left. Flex forward, swing towards the planted foot, swing towards the lifted foot, and come up. Left heel down, right heel up. Flex forward, swing towards the planted foot, swing towards the lifted foot, and come up. The breath work here is exhale as you come down and swing to the planted foot. Inhale as you come swinging towards the lifted foot and come up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. There we go. Let's do a few more. And release. All right. So you notice that when we do that movement, the knees move forward and back. So as I'm flexing forward and I'm moving to one side, one knee comes forward and one knee kind of moves back a little bit. And then when I reverse that, this knee comes forward and the left knee comes back. So that sort of movement with the knees forward and back is what we're going to look at next. So standing again in mountain pose with your feet about hip width apart, what we're going to do is move one knee forward and one knee back. So I'm going to move the left knee forward, right knee back. That's what it's going to look like. We'll try a 3/4 view here. So left knee forward, right knee back, and come back to center. Right knee forward, left knee back, back to center. So exhale as you come down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. So notice the movement here. You're going to get a lot of torque here in the back hip joint. Don't go blasting back there at high speed and with great power. This should be slow and gentle. But feel what you feel. You may feel some tightness in the hamstrings, on the back leg. You might feel some differences in the hip joints. One might seem to move a little more freely than the other. So just notice what you feel as you do this movement, nice and slow. If you would like to add a little more spice, what you can do is let the shoulders follow the hips, but twist a little more past where the hips go. So add a little more spinal twist as the pelvis moves. and release. Notice what you feel here in the hip joints from doing that sort of a twisting movement. We're going to continue with that twisting movement, and what we're going to do is do a little bit of a crisscross sort of dance. So what we're going to do is we're going to balance, first of all, bring our attention to the left leg, anchor that left foot down into the ground. We're going to take the right leg and bring it across the body and then down. Anchor that right foot. Left leg comes across the body and down. So here's the breath work. We're going to exhale as we anchor the foot. Inhale as we lift the foot across. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. There we go. We're going to add a little to it. What I'd like you to do is to reach across the thigh with the opposite hand and just touch the outside of the thigh. So my right leg is coming across. I reach across with my left hand and just touch the thigh. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And if you'd like to add a little more to this movement, when you bring the leg across, straighten the leg. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more each side. And release. All right. What I'd like to do is come to a very, very old-fashioned movement, and that is just a simple squat. So we're going to look at that long back one more time. And what I'd like you to do is to notice the long back as we squat. So we're going to use our arms to provide some assistance here. And what we're going to do is we're going to swing the arms forward as we squat and back as we come up. Here's the breath movement. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. And release. Nice. I'd like to come back to twisting movement in the hips for a few minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a balance work where we're going to swing the free leg around in a big arc. So I'm going to bring my attention to my left leg, anchor that left foot, bring the right foot off the mat, bring it behind you, and then swing it in a big arc so that it comes in front of the planted foot. So we're going to do a big 180-degree swing. Bring the toes down at the back, bring the toes down at the front. Notice the pelvis rotates on the planted hip joint, on, in this case, my left hip joint. You're going to feel a little bit of rotation here in the upper thigh also. And release. So let's look at the breath work. We'll switch feet. So I'm going to bring my attention to the right side, anchor that right foot into the ground, bring my left foot back. Notice the twist in the pelvis. So at each end of the arc, bring your toes down to the mat. And release. So we're going to do that same movement, but we're going to just swing the foot freely. We're not going to have the toes coming down at the back and the front of the arc. So we're going to just swing that foot freely. And we're going to also add a little bit of a pause into it so that as the foot comes forward, we're going to pause here for an inhale. So we exhale back, inhale. Exhale forward, inhale. So we exhale as we move the foot. We hold the foot in that position lifted while we do an inhale. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So what we're doing is we're adding a little bit of a pause at the back of the swing and the front. And I want you to notice what you feel in terms of the hip joint and release. So notice what you feel here in the planted hip joint. Should be fairly well engaged right now. You should feel a pretty good amount of muscular energy or prana from that movement. So just compare how you feel with the hip that was just doing that movement versus the free swinging hip. So let's come to the second side. So let's start with the foot back. Exhale as you swing the foot. Inhale here. Exhale, swing the foot. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So each time the foot swings is an exhale. You'll do an inhale at the end of the arc, at both the front and the back. And release. and compare how your hips feel. We just had the right hip as our planted hip with a big full range motion on it. It should be a little more lively and lit up than the left, which has had a little chance to settle down from the movement. So we're going to come back to that same movement, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of a torso twist in addition to the pelvic twist. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to plant my left leg, I'm going to swing my right leg. So as I swing back, I'd like you to take the torso and twist it a little past where it would normally end up. So it's not a huge twist, it's just a little bit more. So the pelvis twists a certain degree. I'd like you to take the shoulders a little bit past that point. So let's do this to start with the toes down. So toes down here, twist the torso a little more. Bring the toes forward, twist the torso a little past the pelvis. Foot back, there's that twist. Foot forward, twist a little past. And release. Let's come to the second side. So let's anchor that right foot, that right leg. Inhale, bring the foot back and twist the torso a little past the pelvis. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So each time the foot moves, the shoulders move and they go a little past where the pelvis ends up rotating. So we add a little bit of a spinal twist in the same direction that the pelvis is moving. And release. All right. What I'd like to do next is to add a little bit of a side flexion to that same movement. So I'm going to change my orientation so I'm sideways. And here's what it's going to look like. So we'll inhale and bring this back. Torso twists a little past. Exhale as the foot comes forward. I twist the shoulders a little past this pelvis. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to this position, and then we're going to tilt at the planted hip joint. So we're going to lift the foot a little bit, tilt the torso, side flexion. Inhale and tilt. Exhale and come down. Inhale and tilt. Exhale down. Let's do two more. And release. All right, let's come to the second side. So we're going to plant the right leg. The left leg is going to swing. So here's the back side. Here's the front side. Notice the torso twisting past the pelvis. And then from this position, with the foot back, slowly lift the foot as you tilt the torso forward. Shoulders should be to the side. Inhale and tilt. Exhale down. Inhale and tilt. Exhale down. One more. And release. All right. Let's come into side view. What I'd like to do is a warrior pose. And we're going to take a look at a couple of steps from the warrior pose. So I'm going to start at the head of the mat, the front of the mat. I'm going to step back with my foot. And I want to have the feet somewhat wide. So if you look here from a front view, this back foot, if it is in line with the front foot, balance is going to be difficult. But if you move the foot off to the side, you're going to have a little better balance for this movement. So as we step back, also step out to the side so you have a little bit of better balance. And then from this position, exhale, bring that shin so the shin is vertical. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And step out. All right, let's go to the second side. So we're going to step back with the left foot. Left foot steps back and off to the side. On the exhale, bring that shin forward till it's vertical. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more. And step out. All right. What we're going to do next is we're going to do that same lunge with the knee forward. And we're going to add, or I should say, knee forward, and then we're going to add a lunge with the torso. So it's the same as that forward flexion that we did earlier where we hinge from the hips, but we're going to do this from a warrior position. So we'll start like this. We're going to bring the knee forward and then hinging right here from the hip joint. Keep the back nice and long. Hinge from there and come forward into a lunge. Come back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale up. And step out. Very nice. Let's go to the second side. So we'll start by bringing the shin forward. And then from this position, keeping that nice long back, flex forward and up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. One more. And step out. Very nice. We're going to come and look at one more variation on that front warrior, front lunge. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into a front warrior, then add the torso forward into the forward flexion. That's the lunge part. And then from that position, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the head in alignment with the thigh, and we're going to straighten the front leg. So this is what it looks like. So we step back, bring the knee forward into front warrior. We come into front lunge with that nice long back, and then we slowly straighten the front leg. So the head drops slightly as we straighten that leg. Come back to lunge, straighten the leg, back to lunge. Let's do one more. Step out. All right. Let's come back to the second side. So we're going to step back with the left foot, bring the right shin forward into our front warrior, front lunge, and then from this position, slowly straighten the front leg. Inhale as you straighten the leg. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to vertical and step out. All right. We're going to continue with a little bit of work from a table position. So let's come on down into table. I'm going to do this head on so you can see the alignments. What we're going to do is start with a movement that is really good for the glutes, especially where the glutes attach at the back of the pelvis near the sacrum. So we're going to do a knee lift. From table, we're going to lift the knee straight to the side. So from this position, take your knee straight to the side and down. Inhale, lift the other knee straight to the side and down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One thing you want to note while you're doing this movement is to keep the arms straight. Tendency is to let the opposite arm collapse so that you assist in creating that spinal twist. And this is an instance where the alignment is really much more important than how big a twist it may look. And release. So take a moment and just feel what you feel from doing that movement. You may feel some good muscle heat on the back of your glutes, where many of the glutes attach to the pelvis. We're going to continue with the movement that's related to that same knee lift. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to lift the knee to the side, and then we're going to shoot the foot across the body to the opposite side. And I'm going to have to turn sideways here because I don't have enough room with this wall behind me. So let's take a look like this. So from this position, from table, I'm going to lift my right knee up, and then I'm going to shoot that foot across the body so that the foot ends up way across on the left side of the body. Then I'm going to bring the knee back and down. Left side, lift the knee, shoot that leg across the body. Bring the knee back and down. Now, there's a couple things to watch as you bring that knee across the body. So lift and shoot that foot across. Notice here the lift in the pelvis here. Pelvis is lifted straight up towards the ceiling. The foot here comes way across the body. Bring the knee back and down. The breath work is to inhale as you lift the knee and shoot the foot across the body. Exhale as you come back to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So as you do this movement, watching your breath, watching your arms, making sure that they're not collapsing, also watching your hips to notice them lifting up towards the ceiling as the foot comes across the body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more each side. And release. All right. We're going to come into a constructive rest pose, which is going to be on our back with the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor. And we're going to do a few movements that focus on the hip joint. So let's come into constructive rest pose. I'd like you to take your hands and interlace them and bring them behind your head. And then from this position, I'd like you to bring the feet off the ground so that both thighs are vertical. So your feet are just going to dangle down. We're not straightening the feet at all. They just dangle down. And then from this position, we're going to move the knees in opposite directions. So on your next inhale, one knee will move in towards your chest and one knee will move away from your chest until that toe taps. And then reverse that. So if this is the inhale, the exhale reverses the direction of the knees. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now, this is a very slow, very subtle movement. And you may be wondering, well, what's going on here? What's getting used? What muscles are being exercised here? And the answer to that is basically it's going to be your upper thighs, your quads, to a slight extent, and mostly it's going to be your psoas. And the psoas is difficult to feel. And it's going to take us a little while of movement before we start to feel some muscle heat from this movement. But just stay nice and slow, nice and smooth. Inhale, knees go one direction. Exhale, they go the opposite. And after some time, you will probably start to feel some heat maybe in the upper thighs, maybe in the lower torso. And when you feel that, do a couple more cycles of movement here. And then release. Bring your feet down to the mat. And just take a couple of breaths and just notice what you feel and where you feel it. Oftentimes, what people will say will be, well, I feel it in the upper thighs. And yes, you probably will feel it somewhat in the upper thighs. But as you sit and relax and breathe, oftentimes the feeling from the muscle heat will move deeper into the pelvic bowl, and you'll feel it lower in the torso and less in the upper thighs. So let's just take several more breaths here and just notice where you feel the heat from that movement. And I'm going to shift around a little bit so you can see what I'm demoing here. But you can stay where you're at in constructive rest pose. Hands again interlaced and behind your head. And let's bring the thighs vertical again. So one of the movements that is often done in a yoga class will be just moving both knees to one side, moving them to the other side. And you get a very nice spinal twist from this movement. And you can feel the pelvis rocking side to side, back and forth. So what we're going to do is a variation of that. And what we're going to do is move one knee to the side as the other knee pushes straight up towards the ceiling. So it pushes up. It's not just hanging on, and it's actively pushing up towards the ceiling. So the leg comes down, the other knee pushes up. Come back to center. The breath work. Exhale as one knee drops and the other pushes up. Inhale to center. Exhale, drop. Inhale to center. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So as you do this movement, the shoulders should stay nice and stable. The pelvis should rock back and forth. As the knee drops and the other knee pushes up towards the sky. And if you'd like a little more spice, as the knee drops, straighten that foot. Let the foot tend to arc up towards your head. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let's do one more on each side. And release. So let's take a couple of breaths and just feel what you feel from that movement. What sort of feeling did that movement create in your body? Just absorb the energy that you feel from that movement. And when you're feeling ready to move, come on out of constructive rest pose. And I would like to thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Hope the rest of your day is spectacular. Thanks for joining me.